Hey everybody, Tyler here, back with another Korean movie review. This one's from 2010 and it's called Villain and Widow. The Korean title translates to something more like The Second Floor Villain, and I guess it gives a little bit more insight onto how the story goes down, but the English title gives a little more credit to pretty much its dual leading actors, Suk-kyu and Hye-soo. So Suk-kyu plays the villain in this one. His name is Chang-in, his character's name, and he's a smuggler of rare cultural artifacts. He's usually employed by people looking to make big bucks through black market sales. And this movie opens up with Chang-in securing the information on the whereabouts of one of those rare items called the Blue Dragon Teacup, which happens to be hidden somewhere in the home of a widow played by Kim Hye-soo. The character's name is Yeonju, who's living with her teenage daughter, and they just so happen to be looking for a tenant to rent out the second floor of their house. Okay, so this character Changin, he's not the kind of guy who's going to go in guns blazing to try and locate this thing. It's not like he could really even get a gun that easily here in Korea, and the mother and daughter are said to really have no knowledge of this teacup anyway, so putting a gun to their head and asking where it is wouldn't help. He's also not looking to go back to prison. He's spent enough time there. So his best bet is to stay kind of under the radar, so he goes and actually rents out this second floor from the mother and daughter under the guise of a writer, where he hopes to find, or for some opportunity to arise, where he can search the house and locate the Blue Dragon teacup. And hopefully soon, because his employer is wanting this thing urgently. So that's pretty much his goal here. Now, this premise is established pretty early on in the movie, and you're probably thinking what I thought when I kind of found out what the story was going to be. How the hell are they going to make a movie that's 2 hours long about a guy trying to steal a teacup from a wife or from a widow and a teenage daughter? Okay, but oh baby, it's not as easy as he thinks it would be. So Chang-in, he initially plans on having to work around the house's state-of-the-art security system only. And so he gives himself sort of a 3 to 4 day window, or an estimate, to get this job done. Ooh, that estimate goes bye-bye very quickly. He completely underestimates this family dynamic here, and how the whole situation is going to go down. So Yeonju, the mother of the daughter, is actually, who's played by Kim Hye-soo, she's battling a pretty severe case of depression, probably that dates back to when her husband passed away a few years prior. And the daughter, Songa, is undergoing some pretty heavy teasing at school. She's also facing some self-image issues as she's entering through puberty. So, whoa. There's even this like aging older woman neighbor who lives in the house up on the hill, who she's chain smoking all day. She's initially already very nosy, and when Changin moves in, she is peeping more than ever now. So she's got her eyes glued to the house. So Changin thinks he's going to have plenty of time to search for this thing while the two are away, either at work or school. But their conditions are, bringing them home more than ever now. His plans are getting foiled left and right. Yeonju has even developed a little bit of a drinking habit lately and asks Changin to join her for drinks, maybe to look for someone to listen to her story, maybe a shoulder to cry on. So Changin's deception goes as far as even faking feelings for Yeonju, and they develop this sort of secret kind of relationship that he feels is necessary in order for him to get his job done. So that's all I'm going to say about the plot. Sounds maybe kind of basic, but it's pretty fun and interesting how this whole thing goes down. So for me, Villain and Widow was one of those movies that felt and played out more like a novel would, rather than how most movies are played out these days. So by that I mean it's a bit slower paced and more meticulous in the details of both the character and story development. And it's really one where the characters feel like that they can come alive, and you kind of just get really engrossed in the story if you sort of give in and let it take you along for the ride. And it's really a movie about the characters. The characters, I loved all of them, even the smaller roles. They're all written with a lot of personality that makes each one of them distinctly interesting and fun to be around. And there's actually a lot of situational comedy in this movie, especially within the house, as Chang-in is pretending to be this nice guy but always secretly looking for that blue dragon teacup. And this movie also does a really good job at throwing unique and new obstacle after obstacle at him, prolonging his acquisition of this teacup. So the longer that he stays in this house, the more he learns about the family and vice versa. And despite really all of these characters having some major flaws, no one's really in tip-top shape. They sort of kind of find a way to help each other and become this really unique mixture. So even with Chang-in being such a bad guy, I was able to find myself rooting for him to make clean escapes during a lot of close calls that he has with being found out or some brush-ups with the law along the way. So real fun. This film's third act, for me, it took a surprisingly dark turn and really becomes more of a full-blown dark comedy. But wow, I found myself really loving it and laughing at some almost disturbingly dark situational humor. This film does, however, suffer a little bit from a tendency that I think a lot of us who are familiar with Korean cinema have grown accustomed to seeing, in that sometimes movies just don't want to end here, especially after everything's been wrapped up. They just keep chugging along. But in this case, it's just a minor complaint, I think, as sometimes these little epilogues do add something fun and interesting to the overall work, and I do think that is the case in this one, so thankfully it's not like an eye-roll one. So this movie was directed by Son Jae-gun, who also made a movie called Fun Movie and My Scary Girl, which I actually haven't seen yet. So since I enjoyed Villain and Widow so much, I'm actually going to try and track down these movies, get some copies of them, and watch them as soon as I can. Son Jae-gun hasn't made a movie since 2010 with this one, but it does appear that he is working on something that hopefully it's either in production or post-production, so I'm going to be keeping track of that, and hopefully I'm looking forward to it anyways. I had a lot of fun with Villain and Widow. I love the writing, the performances, and I think I'm going to be definitely revisiting this one sometime in the future. I actually checked this out via the DVD. This is the Korean DVD. It does have English subtitles. I wouldn't hold my breath. I wouldn't bet a dime that this is going to be released on Blu-ray in the next few years. So if you do plan on seeing it, this is probably your way to go to find the DVD somehow. I would recommend locating a copy of it ASAP, because it does appear to be that these older Korean movies are becoming a little bit harder to find nowadays. So if you come across it, I'd recommend picking it up. So that's going to be it for this one, guys. If you've seen this movie, let me know. Curious about your thoughts on it in the comments below. It's a little bit obscure, I know, but hey, I'm trying to get some of these out there, let people know about them. There's actually a big treasure trove of these movies that I'm going to try and get through and share my thoughts on them. So if you want to see more like this in the future, you can subscribe to the channel, you can hit like, all that good stuff. Alright, until next time, I'm Tyler at The Movie Beat. Keep watching movies.